Welcome back to NRP, guys. Today we're going to be installing a AWE full exhaust on this car, plus Evolution Racewerks CATTED downpipe. We're going to be putting that on this Tanzanite blue G80 M3 competition. Before I show you guys the whole exhaust stuff, let me give you a quick walk around of the car. Check it out. This color is sick. He has the red interior, no carbon buckets, but still very nice. This one has 7,500 miles on it, as you can see right here. It is a 2022, so it has the iDrive 8, which is beautiful. It's kind of weird seeing one with a sunroof. We're so used to seeing it with a carbon roof, but anyways. We're gonna be working with Chris today. He's gonna be installing the downpipe and everything. He's just getting everything ready, probably disconnecting the O2s and such. So we're gonna be, once again, trying to show you guys as best as we can, showing you how to take out the downpipe. Again, the exhaust stuff we've done so many times before, you guys have seen it before. It's pretty straightforward. But when it comes to the downpipe, obviously take the engine cover off, and go ahead and disconnect the O2 sensors, what Chris is trying to do right now. And then there's like clips that guide the wire, just unclip them, as you can see right here as well.
And just feed it down.
And then just make your life easier, just try to toss it all down there, and then when you get down there, lift the car up, and then we'll be able to show you much better once the car's up in the air. Now to the exhaust, I gotta tell you guys a couple things about it. So like I did mention, this is a catted downpipe from Evolution Racewerks. Check it out, the build is so nice, it looks so clean. One thing I do want to mention, that it has this pipe right here, which basically is not keeping the single mid, which is what we've done multiple times with most exhausts, which deletes that pipe right there. And so instead of just it being one single all the way to the third section, it is now going to keep the dual. And so this cross part is still going to be a part of it, which means it won't be just one coming down, it'll be both this way coming down. And then from that, it will go to the AWE full exhaust all the way back to the muffler. So we will go ahead, obviously, like we always do, get you guys some before and after sound clips, as we are almost certain it is going to be significantly louder. It would be louder just putting the AWE on, but now that it's going to have the high flow cats, it's going to be that much louder. All right, so we're going to try our best to show you guys how to do the downpipe on the S58 M3, of course, and we're going to show you guys how to install it and take off and disconnect the O2 sensors as well. Obviously, step one is taking off the engine cover, which Chris has already done so. We kind of fiddled with it just a bit off camera just to make sure, so we can explain it better for you guys how to disconnect the O2 sensors. And there's a trick that Chris pretty much figured out, and he's going to help you guys out with.
Yep, so right here, the main trick is going to be to get this battery cable out of this little latch right there, just so you can feed the wires down without any interference, because the heads of these O2 sensors are quite large. So that'll just give you a little bit more room to feed the wires down, and it'll be easier to see from underneath the car. So there's one right here. This is going to be for the first O2 sensor on the front turbo. The other one's going to be directly below the car. You'll have to remove that big underbody panel to be able to see that one. And then rerouting that one's pretty simple, but there is a pattern, there is a route that this wire is supposed to take. It's going to be very tough to show you, but I might be able to show you with the light underneath the car. It routes up between the inlet pipes and the turbo itself.
Does it go through these clips too?
Yes, yeah, this one will route like this. So
okay.
I'll just have it over here for right now.
And then these two.
I'm going to do this one. They're a little tricky sometimes. Be careful. Alright, and then we'll take these, unclip them here. There's one right here as well. And then there's also one that you can't really see on the back side, but you'll be able to just feel it with your hands. Yeah, it's going to be tough for you to see me do this, but basically just force the wires down there. When you're removing the downpipe with the O2 sensor still plugged in, be very careful not to tug on everything, because the wire could be caught, the head of the sensor could be caught on something, so you want to be very careful when removing everything.
So we got the car up in the lift. Chris is just removing the exhaust right now. You guys have seen us do this like 1,000 times. We made sure to leave the valves closed, so then when we put everything back together, it'll be easier. But once he gets the entire exhaust down, we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how to do the downpipes, because that's more of the how-to of this part of the video. Because removing the exhaust is just always the same. We've done it 1,000 times in the past. I don't want to keep saying and keep showing it over and over again. But once he gets the exhaust down, I'm gonna show you guys what to do from the bottom side once you've disconnected all the O2 sensors. So once you've got the exhaust down, just a bunch of 13mm bolts. There's two right here. There's a couple around the flanges, and then you also have to, once you get this off, you'll have more access to take the actual catalytic converters out. All right, I'm gonna show you guys how it compares to the Evolution Racewerks one.
So I mean, this is just a protective shielding around it, but it definitely is flat here and on the bottom side. So this is going to be the same diameter all the way through. Next step for the downpipe removal, you're going to have to remove this big panel, which it's got arms that go all the way down here. So you're going to want to remove this panel, this panel, this panel, and then there's screws that attach to this panel from these side fender liners. So I'm going to be here for a minute unscrewing all the 8mm. Actually, on this car they're 10mm. So we'll go ahead and switch over to 10. Something I've noticed about G8s is they'll either use 10mm or they use 8mm. I don't know what the difference is, but all these little fasteners, they either are 10s or 8s. If you remove this little crossbar, this little plastic bar that goes all the way across, it makes removing this panel a little easier. Yep, just like that.
Nice catch.
Alright. Slide out.
Alright guys, quick update on the installation process. While we were getting the exhaust all set up, we were like, wait a minute, this doesn't look long enough to reach to the downpipe. So we realized that we actually have to use a part of the stock exhaust and get it to, because it reuses that section of the stock exhaust. So we're gonna go ahead and put all that together once after we get the downpipes done and then show you guys what exactly it is. But as of right now, Chris is just working on trying to get better, I guess, angles to loosen the V-band clamps that hold on the downpipes. So just give him some time.
All right, so the fourth downpipe the fourth O2 sensor connection is gonna be right here. This wire right here. We're gonna follow it here.
Oh no! Jesus Christ, Jack! Jeez!
Pause.
Damn, nothing nice around here. What the fuck?
So
Okay.
we follow the cord, it's right there.
Yep. So on the previous cars I've done, this heat shield does not exist here. Not sure why, but it makes it a little more difficult to get your hands onto the O2 sensor connector. So I was able to go up from right here in front of the sway bar and reach my hand on top of the connector. I can kind of show you what it looks like here. So it's kind of like the other one up top. You got this little gray tab, you're gonna push it out and then push down, and that'll release the locking mechanism, and you just slide the connector out. Like I said, it's a little easier if your car doesn't have a heat shield, but it's still doable. And then you're gonna go around here and follow the cable and just unclip it from the mounting bracket.
It is so hard to show this, guys. I'm so sorry.
It goes up and through the motor mount. So if you're looking on it on your car and you use this video as a reference, it should help a little bit. But I see that this bracket is too large to fit through there, so we're gonna come down here and just unclip it from this bracket. There's gonna be a little tab underneath here. You just push to the side and this will just slide right off.
All right, guys, so there's that clip right there. We're trying our best to show you. You kind of slide it to the left so it unlocks it, and then it allows the connector to come out. As you can see, it has that little pin right there. So it's a little tricky, but once you get it down and hanging so you can actually see it, do not try to do it while it's up there. It's just going to be impossible to reach. So do it the way Chris just showed you guys, where you just kind of pull it down so you can disconnect it, and then once you get it, guide it through that hole right there, the motor mount, and then you can
That's free.
All right, guys, I don't know if you guys can see that O2 sensor right there that Chris has his finger on. That wiring actually has to go over that turbo inlet, so make sure when you put it back together, it actually does go over it, because that does matter.
Yep, and
So
also when you're coming out, it's gonna be tricky to get the wire because of this fat part right here. It's gonna be tricky to get that up and over that, so just be mindful of that.
So one thing that is not similar to the G42 downpipe that we did for you guys and showed you, it was so much easier to show you guys because there's so much more visibility, but on the G80s, you literally cannot see anything, honestly. So we're trying our best to show you guys. Sorry if this isn't very helpful, but one thing we will do is once Chris actually has the downpipes down, we can actually give you a better idea and we'll have more visibility so we can show you, and we'll try our best. Hopefully it helps. All right, guys, so Chris just got the downpipes out. Now I can kind of explain. So now that I can kind of show you, the O2 sensor was actually going over that inlet right over there. I'm gonna try and zoom in and show you. And you have to basically guide the wire over the inlet, so when you pull the downpipe down, it'll actually come down with it. Otherwise, it's just gonna be hanging on it. So imagine the wire is right over this. If you pull something down, it's gonna hang on this. So you gotta get it over. So that's definitely one of the trickier parts of this downpipe installation. But obviously, once you get it out, it's just a bunch of 13mm. Make sure you loosen these V-band clamps as well. They're a little hard to get to, but once you get those, these are also 13s, right, Chris?
Yeah, I like to take the bolt all the way out so then you can crack the clamp loose on both sides and it just pops right out.
Yeah, so I guess it's better to take it completely out versus just leaving it kind of in. Well, yeah, once you get it out, it's just a matter of taking the O2 sensors, unscrewing them, transferring them over to the new dowmpipes, and then putting everything back together. And then once we get the Evolution Racewerks dowmpipes all back in here, we'll be able to show you guys what we have to do to get the AWE exhaust working with the stock section of the front part of the mid-pipe. So yeah, just give us a bit. Once everything's back together, I'll show you. All right, so Chris has the downpipe ready to go back in. The O2 sensors are on. Did you remember the downpipe gasket? Or
so the downpipe gasket will go right here. Okay. Luckily, the other gasket is in the turbo side.
You see he's doing it again, just running it over the inlet pipe. Y'all see that?
The head of the sensor should hold it there.
Hopefully it doesn't fall down. If it does, you gotta start over. Second one's going in right now. Just a matter of lining it up and then getting, the trickiest part is definitely the V-band clamp and just getting it to sit with the turbo and then just tightening it. All right, now we're just putting the O2 sensors back together, clipping them back in, and then basically putting them back how they're routed from the factory. And take your time with this. You want to do this the right way. And make sure everything is correct, where it should be, where it goes. Once he's done with that, we can put the middle part back on and then start focusing in on the stock exhaust and transferring the stuff over to the AWE exhaust. All right guys, a quick update on the G80. We got the mid-pipe installed and Chris went ahead and cut it right here and then clamped it up with the AWE exhaust. So this was actually the stock part of the exhaust we were gonna end up keeping. We were just a little confused thinking that the AWE exhaust goes from all the way to the end, all the way to the cats, which it did not. Especially once we saw this, we were under the impression that it comes with that too. But it does not, you just reuse the stock ones. So given that situation, that means this car still has cats, high flow cats, but still has cats, still has these resonators, still has that middle resonator as well. So is it gonna be loud? I don't know. We'll see when we do the before and afters. Chris is almost done here. He's just cranking up the valve controllers and everything, buttoning everything back up together. We have to still put the tips on. And then once that's done, we'll go ahead and start her up for you guys, and hopefully you guys can tell the difference with the valves open and closed. Do I think it's gonna be very loud? I don't know, honestly, we're not sure. But Chris thinks it's not gonna be loud at all.
You got this, you got these, and you got a big old muffler here. And you don't have the valve controller, so the valves aren't gonna open all the way anyway, so.
Oh yeah, that too.
It's gonna be a little disappointing, but there is potential.
All right guys, so we got the exhaust fully installed. Get some quick before and afters for you guys. Alright guys, check it out. Here's how the exhaust tips look. They look pretty nice. They match the diffuser pretty well as well. The car overall does sound good. It has some natural burbles coming from it as well. No check engine light with the high flow cats or anything like that. It's definitely louder than stock. Sounds pretty nice as well. To be honest, these S58 motors, they don't sound too bad at all anyway. They sound much better than the S55s do. But overall, the installation part was cool. Chris kind of got a little bit annoyed with the whole cutting aspect because that does kind of take away from the ease of installation. So having to cut where we had to cut and then use the rest of the stock exhaust was a little annoying. But overall, the installation process was pretty chill. The Evolution Racewerks downpipes were also kind of annoying to install, so if you are DIYing it, try to pay close attention to what we did in the video like you saw in the past. If you guys are interested in these downpipes or this exhaust, I will leave a link down below in the description. But that pretty much concludes it for today, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.